Yeah, welcome to Blunt Force Politics. Woo! Episode 14. We got a great show for you guys tonight. Mamdani, Democrats. Oh, it's a great time. So fire up your joints. Let's get her going. We got the joint here. Woo! Yeah, that's right. Blunt Force Politics. I am Dirty South Josh. This is episode 14. Let's start with the big one everyone's yelling about. Trump accused a group of Democrats of seditious behavior punishable by death. Democrats put out a little video telling the military not to follow illegal orders, and Trump reacted like someone unplugged his microwave mid hot pocket, straight from zero to sedition like he had it preloaded. Then to the White House comes out like damage control firefighters. He didn't literally mean execution. We'll get into that. Meanwhile, in a plot twist, Trump and New York Socialist Mayor-elect Mayor mamdani had a meeting that shockingly didn't end in chair throwing. We'll get to that too. A federal judge also blocked the administration from sending the National Guard in to D.C. Like what? They want to clear it out and keep the crime there? As if AOC's milkshake brought all the criminals to the yard? We got the offshore drilling making a comeback in California and Florida. California's bitching about it. That's alright. DeSantis is not. And we've also got a historic scientific breakthrough. Oh, the federal government discovered women. That's right. They finally approved a female crash test dummy. We'll check into more about that. Airlines now, you want to behave and dress nicer under the new Golden Age of Travel campaign. Unruly passengers will be dealt with by the beating of a wet piece of spaghetti. Oh, my joint did go out. Dang it. I'm like Bill Maher. I can't keep my shit going. By the way, Bill, if you want to do a show together, you wanna come be a guest in the woods of Mississippi. You want to smoke some real, but my door's always open, man. You come down here like one of the most level-headed Democratic type showmen out there right now that I think I could tolerate. And we got the United Farm Workers. Before I get into the weeds there, farm workers are suing the government because someone in Washington wants to lower farm wages. As if farming is some kind of luxurious job. Good, eh? Well, yeah. There you go. It is what it is. America is truly something special, loud, dramatic, chaotic, and always a little stoned, especially nowadays, and we wouldn't have it any other way. And that, ladies and gentlemen, kicks off tonight's show, so buckle up, because we are just freaking warming up as we jump in to the next segment here. The headlines of doom. Where we take the biggest stories from the last 24 hours and we're gonna break them down one by one until the whole freaking country makes a little more sense, or at least becomes easier to laugh at. Tonight's list is a wild one. We've got sedition accusations, a judge blocking National Guard deployment, offshore drilling debacles, a breakthrough in car safety that took way friggin' too long, and a government campaign trying to make air travel less feral. Well, let's take them in order, starting with the big political hurricane, Trump versus the Democrats. Or as I like to say, Trump versus, here's a box of Wheaties and Trump's cornflakes. Yeah. I don't know where you come from, but cornflakes is far superior to a box of freaking Bruce Jenner Wheaties. But hey, I digress. Trump is accusing Democrats of seditious behavior punishable by death. Actually, he didn't threaten anyone when you look at the actual verbatim shit, but hey, it relates to the seditious acts that is going on. It's one of those moments where you stop, blink twice, and say, yep, that sure escalated pretty quick. Democrats made a video telling the military not to follow illegal orders, which is basically the political version of posting a warning label nobody asked for. Not to mention, as well, through your military training, there's already a whole section that covers illegal and immoral orders, how to identify them, and the chain of protocol for a complaint, which is not unreasonable. But, hey, the left, all these people... Yeah, and then Trump replied like somebody hit a panic button labeled maximum volume with sedition punishable by death. It's not a warning. It's not a comment. It's a full nuclear reaction from a president who read one group chat message and said, hey, time to call in the firing squad. And you know what? I agree with President Trump on this. These people are totally guilty of sedition in this manner. You're going to cause confusion and chaos in the context, the intent. The whole intent of that video was to confuse people under the orders of our president to refuse any said order, when no order ever given by the president by anyone in any official capacity ever said, hey, you know what, I don't think this is legal. That's why you ask them, like crows, all of them, they can't answer any of it. Now, in fairness, Trump has never been subtle. Subtlety is not on his menu, I'll tell you that. The man expresses himself like a foghorn mounted on AOC's asshole. But according to elected officials of sedition, that's bold even for the president, but I have to agree with him. It is seditious content. It does go to that. But you gotta love it. Every week in this country, you get one headline that feels like it should have been reviewed by a lawyer, therapist, and a freaking fire marshal. Whole thing reminds us of how fragile political discourse is. But enough of that. Let's just look into a little bit of what's coming up our way here in the headlines with all of this.
Now to Washington, where President Trump accused a group of Democratic lawmakers of sedition, calling their actions, quote, punishable by death after they released a video urging members of the U.S. military to refuse illegal orders. The president's comments sparking an outcry on Capitol Hill. They come at a time when political violence on both sides is on the rise.
KTLA's John Fenoglio is live from the News Center with more. John.
Cher and Micah, in this social media video, Democratic lawmakers say the Trump administration is pitting the U.S. military and intelligence community against American citizens. Lawmakers then call on service members to refuse illegal orders, but they don't specify what those orders are.
Disgusting and dangerous what Donald Trump has said.
This is the
Tonight,
dumbest
Democrats
son of a
are
bitch
condemning
in
President
politics.
Trump following a flurry of social media posts in which he accuses them of seditious behavior at the highest level, seditious
are.
behavior punishable by death, and saying
That's
each
right.
one of these traitors to our country
But he
should be
did not
arrested and
attack
put
or
on
target
trial.
any
The
individual
president
person or
responding to
party
this
or
video
anything.
from 6 Democratic lawmakers,
You can refuse illegal orders.
calling on U.S. service members to reject unlawful orders.
You can refuse illegal orders.
You must refuse illegal orders.
Senator Alyssa Slotkin.
Senator Mark Kelly.
The lawmakers in question all served in the military or in U.S. intelligence.
All of us who contributed to this video are
And
either
they were all
former
a
CIA or
bunch of
former
traitors.
military.
You guys are
and
traitors to
we've
your
just been hearing
country.
from a huge number of rank and file
Congratulations.
people in uniform and the intelligence community saying,
I
like,
apologize.
I feel like I'm going to be asked to do
The language,
something
I know.
that's not legal.
Michigan Senator Alyssa Slotkin says she's received hundreds of death threats following Mr. Trump's post.
We've gotten, a huge
Good.
spike in death threats and intimidation
Highly
on
doubt
our
it,
phones
though.
and
Highly
on our
doubt
emails
it.
and websites.
The president later reposting a comment in which someone says, "Hang them, George Washington."
All right, I want to. It's not. They twist everything and all these things when you look at the leftist headlines of it. He didn't target anybody other than anyone committing acts of sedition. So if they're getting that defensive over a general statement that blankets anybody on the U.S. soil committing acts of seditious behavior, to get that defensive over it when he never targeted any individual person, group, he didn't even mention the video, none of that. He just said it out there, outright, verbatim. Sounds like they're guilty of something. May it be seditious behavior? Oh, I think so. The whole thing reminds me, every issue turns into a Marvel movie where the villains are the other half of the country. It's completely insane. But hey, that's where the show's called The Headlines of Dune, because the headlines of reasonable academic debate don't frickin' exist. It's just not possible. We can't have anything like that. It's not in our wheelhouse, when you look at the stuff going on. Oh, our next headline, if you want to call it that, a federal judge has blocked the administration's plan to deploy the National Guard, really, into Washington, D.C., without the mayor's approval, which honestly is probably for the best. Maybe? I don't think so.
The D.C. National Guard and units from several other states were deployed here as part of the Trump administration's federal law enforcement surge that began August 11th. About 2,000 Guard troops remain patrolling D.C. streets and Metro. In early September, D.C. Attorney General Brian Schwab filed a lawsuit claiming the action violated federal law for how troops can be used on U.S. soil, as well as violating D.C.'s home rule law. The 61-page opinion by federal judge
I just want to say the girl that was walking by in the red shirt and the shorts was hot.
Cobb indicates she preliminarily agrees with some key points of his argument. In a statement tonight, Mr. Schwab said, "From the beginning, we made clear that the U.S. military should not be policing American citizens on American soil, normalizing the use of military."
Okay, they're not policing American citizens on American soil. They're doing exactly what the National Guard, being federalized, has been legally called to do. These are liberal, extreme liberal, Obama-appointed federal judges that are saying this shit. And when it ends up going to the Supreme Court, which this will, it'll be overturned. Everything that's ever gone through a federal judge that's gone against constitutional law has been overturned so far by the Supreme Court, but they just don't want to tell you that over there at NBC Washington because they're piles of crap. And this so-called General Brian Schwab, go back to licking dick, because that's what you do best, because you're going to bring the dog to school? Dude, fuck you. Fuck you. I think Trump's absolutely right. Absolutely right. Anyway, I got to digress a little bit on that one, and we're going to jump into this offshore drilling. Ooh. Where did it go? I had a thing for it. Here it is. I put it out of order. I apologize, but hey, this is a live program, and I'm one producer and guy. So let's talk about the offshore drilling. Nothing screams America is confused like California banning gas leaf blowers, while the federal government says, hey, let's drill for oil right off the coast again. And Florida, well, Florida's unfazed. They're like, hey, put the rig anywhere you want, pal. We've already got dinosaurs in the swamp and storms named after angry exes, but California's reaction is straight up panic.
A new White House proposal is sparking swift backlash, with Florida Democrats and Republicans joining forces. The Trump administration announced plans to expand offshore oil drilling near Florida's coast, a move that has leaders statewide gearing up for a showdown. News Channel 8's Capitol Bureau reporter Mackenzie Laporte has a reaction now from the State House.
A showdown.
As the Trump administration pushes for offshore drilling, Florida state leaders, including the governor, are pushing back, urging the U.S. Department of Interior to reconsider. Florida's coast may have been protected in the past, but with new moves coming from the Trump administration to
drill, baby, drill,
the state shorelines could face irreversible damages. In an effort to restore American energy dominance and open up more parts of the country to drilling for fossil fuels, a new plan from the U.S. Department of Interior proposes offshore lease sales in the Gulf, at least 100 miles from the coast of Florida.
We are also going to fight back because this appears to be an illegal move to include this area.
The move has unleashed a wave of opposition. Many household names are voicing concerns, from U.S. Senator Rick Scott, Florida Democrats in the state and on Capitol Hill, congressional leaders close to the president like Jimmy Petronis and Byron Donalds, and even Governor Ron DeSantis.
I think that would weaken protections that we worked very hard to establish.
DeSantis says he supported the president's 2020 decision that protected Florida's shorelines. But this new plan now raises concerns around environmental impacts and military training risks.
We hope that that they double down on the 2020 policy and not push ahead with what Interior wants to do now.
U.S. Representative Kathy Castor has teamed up with her Republican Florida colleagues, hoping to pass the Florida Coastal Protection Act to permanently ban oil and natural gas development and production off the coast.
All right, I just want to, I have to cut it there because like it doesn't matter, you know. It's like it's good and bad at the same time, but overall, when you look at the protocols and everything they have for safety and protection of the environment and everything now, overall, they're better off drilling. So go ahead, do it. Do it. That's all I gotta say. Just freaking do it. You know, I don't care. I'm not getting into that whole like environmental thing. You know, I'm a believer in God creating this earth, and we're not destroying it by drilling for frickin' oil. But hey, I move into the next headline because it's kind of funny and depressing at the same time, because the government finally approved the first female crash dummy test android thingy. Let's just take a look at this before we move on.
A major announcement tonight on the future of car safety for women.
We're releasing design specifications for this, the first ever advanced female crash test dummy.
Nearly 5 decades since the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration first released car safety standards for drivers and passengers.
Hey, thanks to these airbags here, this job is now a piece okay, Claire.
A dummy they say is truly representative of female anatomy, known as the Thor Fifths, is finally being endorsed by the regulatory agency.
I was stunned to find out that women are 73% more likely than men to get seriously injured in head-on car crashes.
It really is a bit of a shock. The data is showing more and more that there are crash risks that are unique to women that are different from men. Without the tools to really measure the differences, it's tough to account for that when you're designing a vehicle to protect people.
Even NHTSA Administrator Jonathan Morrison admits
it has taken far too long. Science takes time, but really it's a matter of a sense of urgency.
The sense of urgency is exactly what Maria Weston-Kuhn has been begging for.
It's long overdue.
Since she was in a car accident that changed her life.
My mom and I both suffered severe injuries. I had to have emergency surgery and take a semester off from college to heal. And we found out afterwards that the injuries that we suffered were not unique. In fact, they're among the most common for women to suffer in car crashes because cars are not safety tested for female drivers and passengers.
So are car companies required to use this new dummy, or what does that timeline look like?
It's not a legal requirement, but we expect, just based on how the automakers generally react, they will buy this and they'll start using it.
The CEO of Humanetics, the company behind the Thor 5s, doesn't buy that argument.
The regulation says you only have to use the old standard, which is from 40, 50 years ago. So why are the car companies still using this? Because it's available and it's easy.
Maria thinks Congress should step in and pass a bipartisan bill to require it now.
We are so glad that there will be an approved female crash test dummy. If this dummy is just going to live in the storage closet, it's not really going to save any lives. We need it in the cars and in the car safety testing.
By 2028, NHTSA's goal is to update its regulation to require the use of the new dummies, which are not only more anatomically correct, but have 3 times the number of sensors.
Why does this process take so long?
Well, science takes time, and it's really been relatively recently that we understand the true
Science
differences
takes a
that
lot of
crash courses
time,
have on women anatomy versus male anatomy.
Okay, Julie Sirkin joins us live tonight here on Top Story. And Julie, I understand that you've got the new crash test dummy right there next to the old one.
All right, I just got to say, I'm going to stop it there because we don't need to hear this drag ass go off anymore about anatomy and stuff. Okay, so really, when you think about it, it makes no difference. It makes no difference. Okay, so a woman's smaller, like what, they got boobs? You know, in a safety, yeah, it's just dumb. They're grasping at shit. You know, that's the way I see it. Grasping for straws for some headlines. But hey, we got the Department of Transportation launching the Golden Age of Travel campaign. Let's take a moment to look at this.
Come fly with me.
Come fly with me.
Let's fly away.
Let's fly away.
Air travel is a miracle of American ingenuity. We build airports to launch a golden age of travel across the skies. We respected the dignity of air travel and the men and women who made the dream possible. Flying was a bastion of civility, but today...
God, don't put your feet up.
But manners don't stop at the gate.
That's right. Manners don't stop at the gate. Things aren't what they used to be. Some would call it the golden age of travel. Let's bring civility and manners back. Ask yourself, are you helping a pregnant woman put her bag in the overhead bin? Are you dressing with respect? Are you keeping control of your children? Are you saying thank you to your flight attendants and your pilots? Are you saying please and thank you in general? The golden age of travel begins with you.
Yeah, the golden age of travel, an attempt to bring back civility, manners, respect, and maybe pants that aren't pajama flannel. They want people to dress nicer, behave nicer, and treat flights with more class. Look, I appreciate it, and I think it's a good idea because I tell you what, I'm tired of going into a place and seeing someone dressed like shit. You know, if I want to go see people wearing pajama pants, I go to freaking Walmart at like 6 o'clock in the evening, and I can see that all day long. Hey, well, guess what? That's America. You know, hey, we're supposed to just accept this and allow it to happen. No, man, let's go back to decency. Whatever happened to common freaking decency? People used to, like, dress up and do things and be nice. And I tell you, I can't remember the last time I saw people dressed up nice going out for, like, dinner or anything like that. You got the United Farm Workers Union trying to sue the federal government over a plan to lower farm wages. Because apparently someone in Washington said, you know who's making too much money? People who pick strawberries in 100-degree heat. Well, kiss my ass. Now, kiss my freaking ass. I want to jump into the big grill. The big grill right now. And that was today's mamdani hanging out with the president. Unfortunately, you know, like everything really happened behind closed doors. We're not going to know everything, but I expect in the next 24 hours from now, we're going to have some social media posts from both sides that are probably going to be a little bit different than what we saw. But, you know, if you remember mamdani's great, what was it, when he won, you know, and the when he won the election in New York, you know, it was great. Remember? You guys remember this?
Thank you, my friends. The sun may have set over our city this evening, but as Eugene Debs once said, I can see the dawn of a better day for humanity.
Eat a big fat goat dick.
For as long as we can remember, the working people of New York have been told by the wealthy and the well-connected that power does not belong in their hands. Fingers bruised from lifting boxes on the warehouse floor, palms calloused from delivery bike handlebars, knuckles scarred with kitchen burns.
Nothing he knows
These
about.
are not hands that have been allowed to hold power. And yet, over the last 12 months, you have dared to reach for something greater. Tonight, against all odds.
Okay, so you hear how he's speaking there, and when you look at the statistics there, he won 50%, 50.4%, with only 1.03 million votes. So it's like 7 million people or so did not vote at all in New York. Cuomo got 852,000, and Silva got, like, you know, 100 and some thousand. Like, they really didn't have a whole lot of people, you know, going out and voting for that. That's really why he got elected. And it's nothing juicier than, you know, what happened tonight, really. You know, when he was with Trump, you see that example, and then we've got this here as we go into tonight's big grill. This is mamdani with Trump when they did their press release.
I mean, he's got views that are a little out there, but
and he looks like a little orphan Oliver boy saying, "Please, sir,
he's going to change also.
Please, Mr. President, can I have another?"
Changed a lot from when I first came to office. It's now quite a while ago. It's quite a while. My first term was great. We had the greatest economy in the history of our country. We're doing even better now. We're doing much better now than we did even the first term. And I can tell you some of my views have changed. And we had discussions on some things. I'm not going to discuss what they were, but that I feel very confident that he can do a very good job. I think he's going to be. I think he is going to surprise some conservative people, actually, and some very liberal people. He won't surprise them because they already like him.
And Mr. Mamdani, it sounds like you had a productive discussion, but just days ago you referred to President Trump as a despot who betrayed the country. You said you would be his worst nightmare and accused him of having a fascist agenda. Are you planning to retract any of these remarks in order to improve your relationship relationship?
I think both President Trump and I, we are very clear about our positions and our views. And what I really appreciate about the president is that the meeting that we had focused not on places of disagreement, which there are many, and also focused on the shared purpose that we have in serving New Yorkers. And frankly, that is something that could transform the lives of the 8.5 million people who are currently struggling under a cost of living crisis, with 1 in 4 living in poverty. And the meeting came back again and again to what it could look like to lift those New Yorkers out of struggle and start to deliver them a city that they could do more than just struggle to afford it, but actually start to live in it.
Not his.
And I've been called much worse than a despot, so it's not that insulting. Maybe I think he'll change his mind after we get to working together. Yes, please.
We thank you for watching.
Yeah, and there was also another point where I watched the whole thing, where another reporter had said, to mamdani, are you affirming that you said that Trump is a fascist? And mamdani started to kind of dodge the question a little bit, and Trump said, it's okay, you can just say yes. You can just say yes. It's all a bunch of shit. Donald Trump and New York's mayor-elect mamdani, Nobody expected it to go well. In fact, if Vegas were talking bets, the odds on that were probably 50-1, but on someone storming out. I think it went well because, mamdani learned that, he's not going to be able to just do every exact thing that he wanted and all that. That's why his whole tone has changed. That's why I played the comparison between the way he spoke at the winning of the election compared to how his demeanor was after hanging out with Trump in the office and talking about how things are going to go. Like, that's really what happened. Trump walked out saying he could absolutely live in New York under mamdani, as long as he plays the game. Just play the freaking game. That's all you got to do. We got to take a commercial break right now from our friends at Paper Towels. Call now is Paper Towel, and we jump into the rapid fire segment where we take the news, smack it around a little bit, and fire off reactions faster than Congress dodges responsibility. So what's in it? First up, Department of Transportation did launch its Golden Age of Travel campaign, which basically means they want everybody to dress nicer and act like human beings on airplanes. This is adorable, truly, because nothing says classy travel like being herded through TSA while a stranger argues about taking off their shoes. Airlines can try to bring back civility all they want, but until they stop charging $60 for a carry-on bag, people are going to show up dressed like exhausted goblins. Next up, the United Farm Workers are suing the government over a plan to lower farm wages. Lower, as in, those people picking our food in 100-degree heat? Yeah, they're making too much money. Only Washington could look at essential workers and say, maybe we should downsize their survival. It's unbelievable. You'd make more money live streaming yourself unboxing cereal. And the U.S. is pushing the Ukraine to accept a peace plan by Thanksgiving because apparently foreign conflict is now treated like a school project with a deadline. Hey, Kiev, wrap it up! Turkey's almost done, bro. Diplomacy shouldn't have a holiday expiration date, but hey, welcome to America. We schedule everything, even world peace. To next up, the newly approved female crash test dummy. Took 7 decades for someone to say, hey, maybe our car safety should include the other half of the population. That's what happens when bureaucrats move at the speed of dial-up internet, but hey, at least we're trying to include women in something. And finally, the judge blocking the National Guard deployment in D.C. That's the legal equivalent of saying, hey, no, you can't bring troops to a mayor's meeting. What the hell's wrong with you? Probably a good call if presidents could deploy soldiers on a whim without having a whole bunch of Democrats bitching saying, hey, you can't do that. You can't do that. Oh. So, I try to digress here a little bit as we move into the what the fuck of the day. Tonight's WTF of the day goes to the federal government for dusting off an old idea, slapping fresh paint down and saying, oh, hell yeah, let's drill off the coast again. Offshore drilling is officially coming back on the menu, and the whole country is looking around going, are we serious with this shit? California woke up this morning. Man, I thought I had a coffee here. Apparently I didn't. I ran out of beer. I have no coffee. Wait. Hold up. God bless us. We have a Celsius. Shout out to Celsius for their peach vibe. 88.9 FM, WIKD, a part of the national broadcast system here. This is Blunt Force Politics saying, drink Celsius, peach vibe, because you know what? It tastes like peaches. So California woke up this morning, sipped off its organic oat milk latte, looked up at the headline and collectively screamed. They said, what the hell? These folks get pissed off when somebody uses a plastic fork, and now they're hearing about oil rigs popping up off the freaking shore. Like giant steel middle fingers pointing right at California. You can practically hear Gavin Newsom's hair starting to part down the middle. In Florida, well, Florida shrugged it off. Florida doesn't give a single shit. They got hurricanes, gators eating house pets, iguanas falling out of the trees, and entire neighborhoods that look like they were built by a drunk raccoon. An offshore rig is basically a welcome center at this point. But here's the real what the fuck. After decades of arguing about going green, after endless speeches about renewable energy, suddenly the government is like, well, you know what? But here's my take on it. That's the liberal side. That's the progressive outtake. Here's my MAGA spin on it. Dude, we've got all these natural resources. We need to use them. God created all this stuff. We're not going to destroy the planet like this. We never have. We haven't done any effect on the planet. All this climatology, climate change, it's all a bunch of bullshit. That's just a bunch of smokescreen to direct you guys right to the pits of hell through Lucifer. And I gotta say it right there. That's the way it is. You want to call me out on it? Go ahead. Let's have a conversation, as you left to say. We'll have a conversation about it, because I think the environmentalists and all that need to just get freaking bent. Ugh. And I'll just play out one little clip here about the offshore situation.
California coast to oil drilling leases. That's what the Trump administration announced here today. NBC4's Conan Nolan live on a newsroom. And Conan, this has generated a lot of opposition with Governor Newsom calling the plan, among other things, reckless.
That's right. And the members of the California delegation, Democrats and a few Republicans to the House of Representatives. This is all a new battle tonight between the state of California and the Trump administration. As you pointed out, Michael, this one is over the announcement today that the Department of Interior will seek a major expanse of oil drilling off the Southern California coast, as well as Central Coast and Northern California coast. Now, the Secretary of the Department of Interior, Doug Burgum, essentially said that this is going to be good for the country. By moving forward with the development of a robust, forward-thinking leasing plan, we are ensuring that America's offshore industry stays strong, our workers stay employed, and our nation remains energy dominant for decades to come. In the meantime, though, the governor of California at a hearing on climate change in Brazil, he said this idea is dead on arrival.
It's dead on arrival. Dead on arrival. And I also think it remarkable that he didn't promote it in his backyard.
He's got great hair, doesn't he?
He didn't promote
it's
it off
plastic,
the coast of Florida.
though.
That says everything about Donald Trump.
This is the problem. You see, just about 10 years ago, a major oil spill off the Orange County coast that we understand 125,000 barrels of oil into there it is, 126,000 gallons into the water off there as a result of an offshore oil rig. Of course, there was a Santa Barbara oil spill in 1969.
I hate to interrupt it, but like, I didn't know the difference between barrels and gallons. So teleprompter.
That galvanized the environmental community. That's the concern. It's a $1 trillion tourist industry along the Southern California coast that the members of Congress from this region say will be in jeopardy. They're hoping to fight this in court.
I'd like to know where else there's oil rigs that cause a devastation in tourists coming in.
Members of Congress are...
Can somebody give me the stats on that? Where's my staff?
Also hoping, at least the Democrats, that they could get a better effort at fighting this plan if they win a majority in next year's midterm elections. I'm Conan Nolan, NBC4 News. Back to you.
All right, Conan, thank you for that. Meantime, in Washington today, a final farewell.
All right, a final farewell. Final farewell to this oil drilling fiasco bull crap that they want to go on. Hold on, I've got one more thing here. Yeah, that's right. Our business is like, yeah, whatever. My sister swears by it. Contact Megan. She'll tell you, hey, poopery. It's great for the soul. It is great if you're engaged and want to just drop a loaf. That brings us to the end of tonight's show. But before we close this circus down, let's take a minute. Take a minute, shall we? Look back at what the hell we just witnessed, because if you step back and actually connect the dots, you start to see the bigger picture. And that picture looks like it was drawn by a drunken toddler with a freaking crayon in grade school. In just 24 hours, the president accused Democrats of sedition. The Democrats accused him of being unhinged. A judge slapped a hand on the table and said, hey, you can't dump troops wherever you want, but hey, Supreme Court was going to overrule that. California and Florida found out the ocean might be getting a new oil rig roommate. The government remembered women do exist long enough to make a crash test dummy. And the Department of Transportation decided airplanes need manners because apparently we're all one delayed flight away from a prison documentary. We're all going to be on the next episode of Monster on Netflix if the airline industry continues the way it has been. This country is ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. But hey, here's the part people forget. It's always been ridiculous. America's messy, it's loud, it's dramatic, it's sarcastic, it's unpredictable, it's freaking hilarious. It's tragic, it's inspiring, it's infuriating, and somehow all of that works. It works because we're allowed to call it out. It works because we can sit here with freedom of speech and look the whole damn system in the eye and say, hey, you people are out of your freaking minds. And nobody drags us away in the middle of the night. Do we have problems? Hell yeah, we all got problems. We got big ones. We're just waiting for that voice in the night to cry out and say, hey. But buried beneath all the stupidity is a country that still wakes up every day and tries again, tries to fix things, tries to get along. We try to love each other. We try to stay sane in a world that absolutely refuses to behave. And maybe that's the point. Politics isn't going to get calmer. It's not the salvation. It's not going to solve our problems. The headlines aren't going to get any nicer. The government isn't going to suddenly become smart and efficient. We know that. But what can get better, what always gets better, is how we respond to it. We can laugh, we can all call out the bullshit, we can point at the madness and say, hey, there it is, folks, look at the clown show. The American dream wearing clown shoes, because at the end of the day, laughter is how we cope with the nonsense. Humor is how we survive the chaos. And honestly, even brutal, sarcastic, fed-up honesty is how we keep the whole world, the whole wild country, from going off the rails. So tonight, if you feel overwhelmed by the insanity, just try to remember this. The craziness is a sign that people still care. They still argue. They still show up. Americans don't die quietly in the night. We scream at the dinner table. We throw mashed potatoes and somehow still come back the next night to say, hey, you still got some cranberry sauce? Because that's who we are. And that's why this show exists, to cut through the noise, to roast the stupidity, and to remind you that you're not crazy. The news is crazy. The politicians are batshit crazy. The country is completely crazy, but you're just paying attention. That's all it is. This has been Blunt Force Politics. Thank you for watching, and if you'd like to join my Saturday panel show, if you think you've got what it takes to go around and give your reaction to the bullshit, regardless of what side of the aisle you're on, if you think you can handle it, even if it insults your own intelligence, your own personality, and your own culture, join me and hit me up in the comments. Until then, thank you for keeping your sanity sharp and your bullshit meter fully charged. Stay loud. Stay aware. Stay unfreaking filtered. And I'll see you on the next episode.